$60,000 a year. Before taxes, that's $5,000 a month. After taxes, depending on your state, you're probably looking at somewhere around $38,000 to $42,000 take home annually, which sounds like enough. And in a lot of parts of the country, it is enough to live on. But building wealth on that number, most people will tell you it's not realistic. That you need to be earning six figures before the real financial progress can start. That $60,000 is a surviving salary, not a building salary. And that's exactly the kind of thinking that keeps people stuck for decades. My name is Chris, and I've spent way too much time studying the gap between what people assume about wealth building and what's actually happening inside the financial lives of people who quietly get ahead. And here's the thing that keeps coming up. The top 5% of wealth builders in this country are not all high earners. A lot of them, a genuinely surprising number of them, built serious financial security on incomes that most people would consider ordinary. $60,000 a year, sometimes less. And today I want to show you exactly how they do it, because the strategy is not complicated or mysterious. It's just different, fundamentally, behaviorally different from what most people around them are doing. The first thing they get right is the sequence. Most people think about money in this order, like spend what you need, enjoy a little, and save whatever is left over. And whatever is left over is usually not very much, because somehow life always finds a way to absorb every single dollar you give it access to. You know how it goes. The month starts with good intentions and ends with you wondering where $300 went. The top 5% flip the sequence completely. They decide what they're going to save and invest first before anything else gets a chance to touch it. They automate a transfer on payday, straight to an index fund, straight to a Roth IRA, straight somewhere that isn't a checking account. And then they live on what remains. It sounds almost too simple to be the answer, but the psychological impact of doing it in that order versus the other order is enormous. When the money is already gone before you see it, you don't miss it the same way. You adapt to the smaller number, and that adaptation, repeated month after month for years, is genuinely how ordinary incomes produce extraordinary outcomes over time. The second thing is that they are obsessive about the gap. Not the income, the gap. The difference between what comes in and what goes out. On a $60,000 salary, you are not going to out-earn your way to wealth. The raw numbers just don't support it at that pace, but you can outgap almost anyone. And every lifestyle decision you make, every monthly expense, every subscription you forget you're paying for, every car payment, like all of it is really just a decision about how wide or how narrow that gap is going to be. The people who build wealth on modest incomes treat that gap like it is the most valuable asset they own. Because honestly, it is. Every extra $100 per month invested consistently over 20 years at a reasonable market return becomes something genuinely significant. Not because of any magic, just because of math and time. It's not about being cheap or miserable. It's about being intentional with where the money goes before the money decides for itself. The third thing, and this one tends to surprise people, is that they almost never try to time the market or pick individual stocks. There's this idea, especially among people who are newer to investing, that building real wealth requires some kind of sophisticated strategy. Hot stocks, crypto, finding the next big thing before everyone else catches on. But the data on this is pretty clear and honestly pretty humbling for anyone who thinks they can beat the market consistently. Most active investors underperform a basic S&P 500 index fund over a long enough timeline most of them, including professionals who do this for a living. The people quietly building wealth on $60,000 salaries are not doing anything clever with their investments. They are boring, almost aggressively boring. They buy broad market index funds. They contribute consistently, regardless of what the market is doing that month. They ignore the news cycle and they leave it alone. That's the whole strategy. The secret sauce is that there is no secret sauce, just consistency over time, which sounds anticlimactic until you actually watch the compounding work on a spreadsheet and realize the number you're looking at doesn't seem possible from the contributions you made. The fourth thing is how they think about income. Even on what looks like a fixed salary, a $60,000 salary doesn't have to be the ceiling, and the top 5% rarely treat it like one. Almost all of them have something else running alongside their primary income. Not necessarily a full side business with a logo and the business plan. Sometimes it's genuinely small. A freelance skill offered a few hours a week, an occasional consulting gig, a room rented out, a digital product that sells passively, something that adds $500 to $1,000 a month without requiring a complete lifestyle overhaul. And here's why that matters so much. When that extra income goes directly into investments instead of lifestyle, it doesn't just add to the portfolio. It meaningfully compresses the timeline. The difference between investing $500 a month and investing $1,500 a month over 20 years is not 3 times the result. Because of compounding, it's dramatically more than that. They don't wait for a promotion or a new job to start building. They build with what they have today and let the extra accelerate what's already in motion. The fifth thing, the one that is honestly the most underrated of all of these, is that they stopped comparing their financial life to the people around them. This one is almost invisible from the outside, but it might be the single most powerful thing on this list. Lifestyle inflation is largely a social phenomenon. We upgrade because the people around us upgrade. We feel behind because a coworker just bought a house, or a friend got a new car, or someone from college posted a vacation. That made your weekend look boring. The quiet wealth builders on ordinary incomes made a decision at some point, consciously or not, to completely detach their financial choices from what everyone else around them was doing. They drive the slightly older car without apologizing for it. They stay in the apartment a little longer than feels socially expected. They take the vacation that actually fits the budget rather than the one that looks impressive. And none of it feels like deprivation to them anymore because they can see exactly where it's going. The scoreboard they're playing on is a long-term one, and most of the people they're being compared to aren't even playing the same game. Now that is the real difference between the people who build wealth on 60,000 and the people who don't. It's not income. It's not a lucky investment. It's not being born into the right family or getting the right job offer at the right time. It's a set of deeply consistent habits and a clarity of direction that most people never develop. Not because they're not capable, but because nobody ever sat them down and told them it was genuinely possible on the salary they already have. You don't need to earn more to start. You need to start with what you have and then earn more on top of a foundation that's already being built. If this gave you something useful, I want you to go watch the video right before this one. It's called The Debt-Free Trap Nobody Warns You About, because a lot of people who are ready to start building wealth are still stuck in a mindset that paying off debt was the finish line. That video will shift that for you in a real way. The link is right up there. And if you're not subscribed yet, now is a genuinely good time to do that. This is the kind of channel where the stuff actually applies to your real life. Not just theory, not just inspiration, but real frameworks you can use. I'll see you in the next one.